Okay, let's get into the other side of Burgundy, which is Pinot Noir, the noble grape. Now, here's what we're drinking. Uh, I believe the vintage will be different, but nevertheless, Domaine Boris Champy, so the house of Boris Champy. I do love how in Burgundy the smallest lettering, and this is actually regulated, will be the producer, but what takes top billing is the place that it comes from, driving home that romantic concept of terroir. This is Bon Premier Cru aux Couturiers, Os Couturiers. In the heart of Burgundy is the Route de Grand Cru, or the Côte d'Or, the Golden Slope. If we were driving south from Chablis, when you get into this region, it'll be all the villages on your left side, and on the right will be this slope of vineyards. And that is where you're finding the best Pinot Noirs and Chardonnays. The Golden Slope is kind of split between the Côte de Nuit up to the north, which creates, I think, a little bit more powerful wines, and the Côte de Beaune down south. So this is from Beaune and a Premier Cru vineyard in Couturiers. Now let's break down that Premier Cru. The way that the quality pyramid works in Burgundy, it's not just like putting Reserve or Grand Reserve on the wines. It is particular place distinctions. So you could have just wine coming from anywhere in Burgundy, from unclassified vineyards, but within the area of Burgundy, you would just call that red Burgundy or white Burgundy, Bourgogne Rouge, Bourgogne Blanc. And that actually makes up the majority of Burgundy, and that's going to be down here. But as we go up, this is the quality pyramid here. You could have wines from distinct villages, and the vineyards around those villages get classified in a certain way that you get to call the wine no longer Burgundy, but the name of the village. Beaune is one village. Savigny is a village. Chory is a village. So you would see Chory on the label. Vosne Romani. There's a little caveat there. Within those village wines, they have a set of single vineyards that have enough character or distinction to them that you would be able to put the name of that vineyard on the bottle. That was the wine that we just had in the Macon Boussières. Boussière being a Ludit, a single vineyard that they get to put on the bottle. Then there is getting to the top. That is the first class designation, the Premier Cru. And now we're all the way up here. There's one more notch. About 2% of the production goes to Grand Cru. Those wines are going to be about $500 and can be $15,000. So they're rather price prohibitive. So if you'll allow me, it is a privilege to have a first-class distinction, but just so you know, there is those Grand Cru Burgundies out there that are truly mind-blowing, but 25 ounces of grape juice should not cost $10,000, in my humble opinion, because I have a humble bank account. Pinot Noir from Burgundy. This is not my own metaphor, but imagine walking into a bar and you see an old man sitting there, a little weathered, some dirt under his fingernails, corduroy, wearing a flannel shirt. It just seems like he's got some stories to tell. And just when you're about to grab a beer and strike up a conversation with him, then who are we going to go with here? Harry Styles. Harry Styles walks in, and everyone kind of drops what they're doing and pays attention to this jackass. Say what you want about Harry Styles. I don't know him personally. The point is, Harry Styles will be Cabernet Sauvignon. The older gentleman with stories to tell is Pinot Noir, Burgundian Pinot Noir. Cabernet Sauvignon is very charismatic, and oftentimes doesn't require that much attention paid. It's got a lot of power up front, but the power and kind of machismo, charisma, is at the expense of complexity. Pinot Noir, on the other hand, requires you to get into a conversation with it. It's never going to just jump out and be the life of the party. But sometimes the most interesting people are the ones that kind of sit back quietly. And until you engage with that person, you'd never know that there's wisdom there and there are great stories to tell. That is Pinot Noir. And it is unfortunate. I see it time and time again doing a lot of wine events. I see Pinot Noir get set aside because we never gave it a chance. And Pinot Noir from Burgundy is so incredibly complex, but complexity can be subtle, right? The Cabernet Sauvignon is right there. It leaps out of the glass. But the aromas within Pinot Noir unveil themselves with an extra bit of attention paid, and you will see how much is going on there. And I mean, you're going to get fruit up front. It is a light-skinned grape, and as a result, it's a high-acid grape. As a result, you're going to get a lot of red fruit character. Gorgeous little Bing cherry, Montmorency cherry, maybe a little bit strawberry and rhubarb in some riper vintages, but really clean and pure red fruit. That's the yin. The yang is going to be this earthiness. So you have the purity of fruit and almost this truffly, mushroomy earthiness on the other side. Just like Chablis will show that limestone character that it comes from, Pinot Noir has a way of plunging you into the kind of damp earth that surrounds Burgundy in much of its growing season. And I love that interplay between this forest floor earthiness and the purity of this delicate red fruit. Premier Cru Beaune will always show that to you. And what links those two, the yin and the yang, is a floral note. This gorgeous bouquet of, at times, if it's riper, I would always get a little bit more of a purple flower, a little tulip thing. But in the best vintages, look for rose petal, rose water, this kind of perfume that bridges the gap between earth and fruit. It's truly remarkable, but I do highly recommend giving it that extra beat. Give it a little sustained note, and then on the palate, swish it around a little bit. You can see how lithe it is. It's lean. Bordeaux, which is Cabernet based, we talk about power. With Burgundy, we talk about elegance and balance and length. So the next thing I want you to pay attention to is that back end. There should be something that sustains. It's almost pithy sense, that this electricity that stays on your palate. That's the beauty of a good bottle of Burgundy. Requires a little bit of attention, requires a little bit of intrigue. You know, you might have to study a little bit, or get into a conversation with your local wine shop owner, and I'm sure they'd be happy to walk you through some of these wines. So there's your introduction that hopefully sets you out on a course, not to go buy $15,000 bottles of wine, but more modestly priced Premier Crus that could still blow your mind. There you have it. Wish I was there in person. Hopefully we will see each other soon, and I am going to go take a nap. Cheers. Bonne nuit. Yeah, have a great night, guys.